Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 3 over 32 podcast. It's been a while since our last chat over, the Super Bowl and the playoffs and everything that was going on. But, you know, we're now upon less than 48 hours until draft day, the NFL draft. Fuck Green Bay. Uh, that's where it's being held this year. But yeah, let's get right into it. We're going to talk a little bit about our teams, go into the draft, a little hot takes here and there, but you know how it usually goes. How about Will? Rip us off. What do you feel like Cincinnati's done to improve, or what they're going to do in the draft to have a slight improvement?
Yeah, well, obviously we're picking back at 17, which is in this draft, I don't think is a terrible thing. There's a lot of good defensive prospects, and that is 100% obviously everyone in the world knows that's what we need to address. We just signed Jamar and T to those massive contracts, right? So we have our offense set for at least the next 4 or 5 seasons. So what I personally believe is going to happen, and I think everyone again agrees with me here, is we're going to target a D-line prospect. There's a few of very good ones that are going to be available in this first round. With the departure of Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson still being up in the air, that's got to be our main concern. We need a pass rush. Last year we got torched all day, every day on Sunday by any QB who wanted to. I mean, I think back to the first game right against the Patriots with Jacoby Brisket, dude, just tearing us a new one in the first game.
Brisket.
We had nobody getting the quarterback. So I personally, the prospect that I want, but I don't think that he's going to fall to 17, is an edge rusher named Mike Green from the University of Marshall in West Virginia. I think he's a stud. I mean, he's a beast. He recorded, I think it was 14 and a half sacks last year. He was an absolute stud coming from the FBS level. Marshall is a mid-major, but he separated himself on the defensive side of the ball. He's quick, he's big, and I think he is going to be an absolute game changer at the edge position. However, I don't have him mocked to us. I don't think he's going to slide past 12. So for us, I think it's going to be Kenneth Grant, defensive lineman from the University of Michigan. Michigan had a down year. We all know that they did still beat Ohio State in that final game, but they did finish the year 7-5. So they had a down year coming off that national championship run, like most teams do. But Kenneth Grant led the defensive line there, and again, I think he's another stud player, big, fast, strong guy, and we just need bodies in defense. Like I said, especially up front. Um, because right now it's a lot of question marks, like I said, with Trey and Hubbard retiring earlier. So that's the direction that we need to go in. Any of those guys that fall to us at 17, we need to go and grab, and it needs to be our main priority. And I think that's what we're going to do, no doubt.
Yeah, that makes sense. I could agree with you that D line or linebacker is where y'all are probably gonna go. You didn't do probably best to do it. Um, you know, Generosity going towards the draft or even opening up in free agency in that sense. Still, you could possibly buy a few more after the draft, but all the talent's gone. The talent pool is very slim right now. I like your takes, and I definitely see it going. It's a
Yeah,
little high for who'd you say you were looking at D end, right? Or was
yeah,
it
it was
interior lineman?
Mike Green is DN, an edge rusher. That's who we need the most. It would be an edge. So one of those guys. There's Kenneth Grant. There's also James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee,
Yeah.
another great player. He played for all 4 years in the SEC down there. So there's a few that would be able for us to get at 17, and that just has to be the main concern for us. We gotta be putting pressure on the quarterbacks, right? If we're gonna be scoring 50 a game, they cannot be scoring 60. So we need to put a stop to it, and we need to put a stop to it now. And we invest in one for the future, hopefully, that we can get on, 5, 6, 7 years out of them. And go from there, and
I
hopefully
agree.
pair up with someone in free agency, maybe down the line. But that's what I see happening, and I will be completely happy. We need to address needs.
Perfect. I mean, hey, that's the name of the game when it comes to the draft. Bringing it
Yes,
over to New
sir.
York,
Oh yeah.
Chasky, what do you got for us here at number three?
So I pay attention a lot to what a lot of the beat reporters are saying. Also with people around the league that deal with draft stuff, experts and things like that. But a lot of people are assuming that Abdul Carter's the go-to pick here. I'm not going to go out of my way and say they're going to pick Abdul-Carr. That's who I want if he's available there, because we're expecting that, Cam Ward's going to go 1, obviously. That's guaranteed. And
I
then
know a tear's falling from your eye.
dude, everyone knows. I know you guys know. I love Cam Ward. Dude, I would have been so happy, man.
That would
I
have been a
think
great fit.
I think Cam Ward's going to have an immediate impact. I think he's going to have a bigger impact than people probably expect. But we'll see. We'll see. Number 2, though, Travis Hunter's probably going to go to the Browns. I think that's all but pretty much solidified at this point, too, according to experts. So now it comes down to what the Giants want. I mean, we have a really good pairing in defensive ends already, so I don't know how Abdul-Carr is going to fit into the mix. I do like the fact that Abdul-Carter would probably be the best edge rusher on the Giants right away. I know Brian Burns is really good player, like paid a lot in the offseason, but I think Abdul-Carter is going to be special. Like, I really do. And he'd be an immediate game changer on the team. But man,
Can I ask you,
Sure.
I'm sorry. Can I
No,
ask
you're good.
you if that injury scares you whatsoever?
The foot
I
injury.
think it was his knee or foot.
So I don't know much about it, but it doesn't seem like people are that concerned about it in general, like throughout the league. So I'm just gonna go and just say that I'm not, considering people aren't that concerned. It seems like, and also I don't really know what the issue was. I guess it was a stress fracture. But
It was, yeah, it was,
yeah,
but it's completely healed now, so he should be fine. That's what I've heard as well.
yeah. So
Okay.
I don't think it's an issue. The thing I do like about Abdul-Carter, though, is that he played as a spy for Penn State a lot, and in a division where you have, a bunch of running quarterbacks, having a spy is so ideal, and I think that could be a cool role for him to play as well. As long as he's able to shed blocks as well and play different roles around the team, he could be utilized in a lot of different ways. But like I said in the beginning, though, I don't know if the Giants are going to go through and pick Abdul-Carter. I really don't. I think there's a situation where they're looking at the talent around the team and they see that they could trade back and potentially get a defensive tackle mid to late in the first round, considering defensive tackle's probably the strongest position this year besides running back. I can see that happening. And in terms of quarterback, I don't think Giants take quarterback at 3. It seems the last news I've heard is that Brian Dable, I don't think is very enamored by Shador. I don't think he's the type of quarterback that works in Brian Dable's system. Brian Dable, he likes a running quarterback. He likes a quarterback that can move and actually gain yardage when it matters. Shador is more of a escape artist, but in terms of mobility, I don't think he's all that. So
I mean, I do want to weigh here. You guys have the pieces for mentoring the hell out of Shador Sanders. Russell Wilson, yes, he's old. Jameis Winston, yes, he's Jameis Winston. He eats W's. Either way, they're both mobile quarterbacks when they were brought into the league. Like Russell Wilson, had 1,000 rushing yards when they went to the Super Bowl. Jameis Winston, yes, he threw for 30 one year. 30 picks, 30 touchdowns, but he's still mobile. I mean, he was mobile at FSU. I don't know how. I remembered he was somewhat, able to come out of the pocket, run for 10 yards, and do what you got to do. I think it's like, is it going to be fed to the Giants that everybody knows Shador's going to go there and him shrink? Or is it going to be, like you said, a possible trade and move?
No, well, you're talking about Russell Wilson as if that was their first plan. I don't think it was. I think it was a backup plan. So, to be honest, it seems like Russell Wilson kind of fell to them when they just had no other option. And I don't think Russell Wilson is the best quarterback for Brian Dable or this offense, but we'll see what happens. And I do think, though, they are going to draft a quarterback eventually in this draft. And Shador's that's just what I've seen, at least, is that Shador's not the mold. It could be all smoke. They could end up drafting him.
Yeah.
I'd be like, wow. I know Giants fans in general are super split on this. I've seen Giants fan or content creators say if they don't draft Shador, they're stupid, and I see other content creators saying if you draft Shador in the first round, you're stupid. So it's like
Yeah.
it's super up in the air.
Yeah.
It's just all over the place.
I also would say with with drafting Shador, and we'll talk about this later because he's just a player that I really want to focus on. I don't think you would have to go into it that with that mentality that he probably would not see the field for 1 to 2 years, and it would be a project kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're sitting here as a Giants fan. Obviously, the last 3 years since the 2022 win in the playoffs has been a project time frame. But now you're prolonging that even further to where if you get Abdul Carter, that is saying you are solidifying your defense. You have that side of the ball pretty much remotely covered from a front edge standpoint, and you address needs from there here on out. Or you potentially wait for a quarterback in next year's class. I don't think that Shador Sanders is a top 5 pick. You will never hear that come out of my mouth. And I think the
I don't
Giants
either.
either taking Abdul, yeah, I don't think that that's the direction that you guys should go in because you are in the need of someone who is a franchise turner around.
Well, one
You
more
need someone
thing.
to get things moving.
No, you're so right. But one more thing I should mention is that Joe Shane, during the press conference he had earlier in the week, or I think it was either Monday or late last week, he said that they aren't worried that much about quarterback if they end up not drafting one. He went out and said that. So
Yeah.
I
that's
mean,
he said he
you
likes the
guys are in,
quarterback room. So I don't know.
you guys are in a good spot, and I think it's well noted that there's someone throwing the ball out there, whether it's a veteran, whether it's Jameis Winston, whether it's Joe Schmo. You do have a decent QB room, so it could happen eventually. And what I like to always say, when you rebuild, especially in teams of natures like the New York Giants or the New York Jets, even, they don't start from QBs. They start with their defense. And look at your defensive line. It
Yep.
is it's immense. Now you're gonna try and break in and find your franchise guy at number 3. You wish you had number 1, but was blown. I mean, there's so many different circumstances. You could still trade number 3 to get number 1 next year, but you still have to pan the year out. Like it's always that sense of like, all right, am I really gonna buy in for this? Are we gonna like go in on Shador at number 3 and think, okay, playoffs? No.
What
I just think
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, just real quick, I just think of the videos that I've watched of Abdul Carter at Penn State. Like, dude, guy's a stud,
He's so
man.
good.
And like you said,
He's so good.
he's going to have an immediate impact, even with sharing the line with the guys you already have.
Mm,
And I think that that's a type of player that only comes around once every few drafts that you can mold from the start,
yeah.
who's gonna be there for the majority of his career, hopefully that can fold right into the system. And then again, like I said, you have that covered. You have your D line, you have a lot of your defense covered. Like Greg was saying, you build from that. And then, okay, you draft in the years coming, you pick up a free agent or you trade for a guy, whatever it is, to fill that QB role. You already have a stud receiver, right? Who's going to
Mm.
gain invaluable experience this next year with who's ever throwing him the ball. I just don't see how you don't take Abdul. I mean, he's a freak, man.
Dude,
He's a freak.
you know who people were comparing Abdul Carter to? Von Miller. People were
Von
comparing him to
Miller,
Von Miller,
yeah.
bro. They said people think he has the best bend for an edge rusher since Von Miller, and that is
Yes.
something, man. Like I'm taking that all day. So we'll
Dude,
see
he's
what Joe
massive.
Shane
He's
does.
long. He's long. He can make great tackles in the open field, like nobody I've ever
Oh,
really seen in the past few years.
He
Like
works.
he
Like
works, dude,
every
and
down.
you need a player like that, like just an absolute motor.
Yeah,
And I just don't see how you don't take him.
that's how I'm thinking.
All starts in defense, but we'll get to that. We'll get into the draft. I just want to shine a little light in Minnesota. We had the best free agency known to history of the Minnesota Vikings of getting 2 Aki big men in the offensive line, Ryan Kelly and Will Fries. And then we jumped into, grabbing Jordan Mason, trading him with the 49ers. That's a great aspect to me. In other sense, we got Javon Hargrave. We opened up content to possibly feeding in more of the defensive front with also Jonathan Allen. When I look at this draft, I don't know what we're going to do. At 24, yes, a lot of people are saying this is the draft where everything matters in the late 20s. No draft that I've known has been any type of, I guess, sense or involuntary matter towards the back 20s. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
It's
I
either
don't
you
remember a
address it's
draft where
either
a stud came out of the 20s.
well, it's not that
Maybe I'm
studs don't
wrong.
come out of the
Whatever.
20s. It's just it's a hard position to be in because it's either you take a positional need or the best available. That's what it comes down to, and that's when you get into 20 and below, it's okay, do I have a specific target to fill a specific position, or do I say I'm taking the best available and I work with what I get? That's what it comes down to, and I think the Vikings are in an unbelievable position roster wise to where this draft, you can deal that pick if you want to. You can pick up someone, in the later rounds that you could consider to be, you can afford to take a project player. There's any number of things that you could potentially do.
I really think we're going to go out the trading route here. I really don't think
Yeah.
we're going to sit on this pick. I really don't.
You know who?
Um,
Can I just bring up who I think you guys might take? I think you guys
I
might
mean,
take a running back, but that's
I
just
was
me.
just about to say running back, possibly, but we also just re-signed Aaron Jones. We have Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason.
He is old.
So, I mean, yes, possibly, but I think we're in win now mode, to be fair. We are
Yeah,
all,
100%, 100%.
all fries in the basket. We are going with JJ McCarthy. That's the end of the story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's
Like,
no debate about that.
it's just part of it. But going into, more along the lines of how possible is it for the Vikings to do so, or even if we sit there, or even if we try and draft, I think we're going to take a stud out of Notre Dame. I, for my first initial mock draft, I went with Ben Morrison, the guy from Notre Dame, the corner. I also
Yep.
like Watts, the safety, to pair him with Harrison Smith, as this is his last year. We all know this. We can get someone in the secondary, I feel, that's more, tangible for what we need for the future. Yes, we have Jeff Okuda coming in. We re-signed Byron Jr. Okay, but someone that can be so tangible to Mike Flores' defense is what we're going to probably do in that sense if we go and sit at 24 to draft.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's roll this on into the major topic of this draft. Get on every news out. Shador motherfucking Sanders.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
man.
look,
It's like I was telling you guys before, and I've been talking to just different friends that I have about this. Shador is one of those players that it's so hard to determine where he's going to end up and if he's going to fit well in the NFL period. PFF has him ranked as the 44th best overall prospect in this draft, which is bordering on mid-second round talent. Obviously, this is a QB driven market, it's a QB driven league, so there's a lot of teams that are going to need to address those circumstances. However, I think Shador Sanders is definitely a type of player that, surrounding his name, who his dad is, where he's come from, the colleges he's been to, he wants the clout and he wants the aura all to be around him. And I have him mocked, barring trades, I had him mocked to 21 in the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the more that I sat and I look at this, I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers are an organization that are run just like the Belichick Patriots for those 20 years, where Mike Tomlin's come in since the start and has said no player is bigger than this team. and that's how they get their results. The Steelers don't want to take on a player that is going to be, doing the wrist shit and, dropping mixtapes and stuff like that as their franchise quarterback. So I don't see him going to Pittsburgh anymore. I don't see him going to New Orleans anymore. I think with the Carr situation that they have to get over with down there, obviously he's older, he's been banged up, that they're going to need to move on from him in the future, and he played pretty crappy after those first 2 games anyway, but I don't see him going to New Orleans. So I just don't know where Shador is going to land, if I'm being completely honest with you. I really don't know. Could a
I'm
team
with you.
like, I don't, could a team like maybe the Cleveland Browns trade back into the first round to pair him up with Travis? Maybe.
That'd be
But
a
I don't think they
Browns
have
thing to
enough
do,
cap.
to be
That
honest.
would be a Browns thing to do.
It
You
would
know what
be.
I mean? Does a team like Dallas? He's got deep roots down there. He's got deep roots with his father down there. Dak is Dak. You never know what's going to be going on with him. He's getting up there and he's had injuries in the past. Do the Cowboys take a chance on him and, trade up if he's still available at the end of the first round, trade back into the first round to grab him? There's just so many possibilities for Shador that I've been running through my head that I don't know, man. I genuinely don't know where he's going to end up. And I want to know what your guys' thoughts were on that. And just him as a player, dude. I think he's a decent enough player, but he went 13-12 at Colorado, 1-8 versus the top 25. And now he has his jersey retired for whatever reason.
Well,
He's been playing underneath his dad since he was a sophomore in high school, so that's all about to change, and how that's going to impact his playing ability. So I think that there's a lot of question marks here with him.
well, let me just bring up this. So Pat Shermer is their OC in Colorado. He was a Giants head coach when Daniel Jones was drafted. Daniel Jones's best passing year was his rookie year with Pat Shermer as head coach. What did they run? They run very simple. For Daniel Jones, Pat Shermer made it easy. And what I saw in that Colorado offense was similar. A lot of checkdowns, a lot of quick
Screens,
screens, a lot of balls
Yep.
out quick. And that's why his completion percentage is pretty much inflated, I think, a little bit, because a lot of those you want to see big time throws be produced in college, and he had big time throws, but I mean the competition level too is a big question mark. I think there's a lot of problems with his game that people aren't bringing up. People have problems with his throwing motion too. He holds the ball long. He tries to make big plays, but he's not Cam Ward.
Yeah.
I just don't think
No,
he's
he
Cam
doesn't have the
Ward.
size. He doesn't have the size in that
His
sense
arm
either to be
strength,
doing that.
his arm strength isn't as good as Cam Ward.
No,
And I mean, Jalen Milrow has a better arm than Shador, in my
I would
opinion.
agree with you. I would agree with you 100%. He's got
Jalen
a cannon.
Milrow has a cannon. The problem with him is his throwing motion as well, and also just not being in a pass friendly offense really.
My question that I posed to you guys is just where in your knowledge, where do you think he ends up, and does he fit in?
Um,
If I'm gonna be frank, I want to say fitting in the New Orleans Saints, but it makes no logical sense for them to go and draft him. They just have They just drafted Spencer Rattler,
they're going with Rattler.
and they also have Derek Carr for what, maybe
It's one
year
more
left.
year. One more.
In a beautiful world, he goes to Cleveland. Reese gets fired, and Dion goes there for offensive coordinator. Pair him up with Travis Hunter. In a
That's what I'm
perfect,
thinking, dude.
perfect world.
Does his dad follow him yet again? What are these?
It's
What's going to happen here?
Nah,
I
Dion
don't
won't
know.
go. Nah,
inevitably going to happen. It's inevitably going to happen. End of story. Like,
I don't see
he's
it.
followed him through high school to college. Boulder made this big statement. He just signed with Boulder, didn't he, for another year or two?
It was longer than
Yeah.
that, I thought.
I think it's like 4 year.
Yeah.
He can opt out of that if he gets to the NFL, especially to go play with his
Yeah,
son.
I think
Are you kidding me?
100% he would opt out of that. Yeah, 100%. So it really, I've been thinking about this all day, where he could possibly end up, and I think that the Cleveland trading back into the first round is a very
Cleveland
plausible Cleveland thing to do.
I could see that.
Cleveland trades with the Minnesota Vikings at number 24.
That could
That's
happen.
if he's still on the board.
He will. He will be.
I don't. As you said, the only other quarterback needy team would be the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I don't think they go that route.
I don't think they do either. So yeah, I just wanted your guys' take on that because this is bringing back flashbacks to 2021, which was Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis. These guys that were valued in the second, third round get elevated because of QB need. They get thrown in the fire. They don't perform well. And then, you know what? We're never really going to hear from these guys pretty much ever again. And I don't know where he's going to fit in systematically. I really do not.
Systematically, it would be the Saints. As you were saying, Chelsky, to highlight what your words, short dink passes to Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave. They're going to do something to shine what they have. I mean, you could also make a statement for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah,
you really.
I was thinking that too. Yeah, they could potentially make some moves for that as well. I definitely
the only
considered
reason
that.
I wouldn't say Raiders is because Pete Carroll's old and they just signed Geno, and I don't think they're going to rebuild at all with a new quarterback.
The only reason why I say the Raiders is to sit him for 2 years because I think 2 to 3 years under Geno, let Pete walk and have him shine underneath a quarterback, which could be Deion Sanders.
I mean, maybe. At that point, you're not taking him though early if that's your plan.
At 6, no.
Yeah. No, definitely not 6. I will say though, I want to bring this up real quick before I forget. And this is so Jalen Milroe was invited to the draft on day 1. Does that not make you think that he might be taken in that first day? Why was he invited then?
We've seen Will Levis get invited to day 1.
The NFL doesn't like that happening, though, I would imagine.
I mean,
people sitting at home.
It's not about that. I think COVID-19 really changed the game to players being at home or at the draft. I don't see it being huge. Like, we were at the draft last year. Well, didn't someone not show up? JJ McCarthy didn't show up.
Yeah, JJ did not.
Yeah, but that was a way better quarterback draft.
But he just won the Natty champion.
But everyone knew he was going in the first round, though.
I mean, you can weigh in and say, okay, maybe the Steelers go and get Milroe, which I mocked him once there. Just doesn't make sense. I personally, I don't think it has any effect on the NFL, nor do they really care. It's being like, all right, here you go. You get to come join us.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, though, because I just thought I'd point that out because, they wouldn't want something like that happening again where they invite someone to be at the draft and they don't get drafted, but you never know. So
very true. I agree. All right, let's roll into things. We have 32 to get over. Yeah. I think we should rip it off. Can we all agree that Cam Ward goes to Tennessee?
He is. I already put it down.
It's a lock.
It's a lock, and it's a shame, but yes. Yeah.
And then with number 2, we can agree with Travis Hunter?
Yes. Wholeheartedly, yeah. That's where he's going.
I also think it's a lock. All the signs point to it. All the media and all the news point to it. Here's where we get might be a little
get a little fishy. I originally, when I first did my mock draft, I had Shador going there. This is also when news came out they were having him and holding him for whatever training or practices to see him, I guess, do his combine or whatever and go through interviews. I negate that decision, and I think you guys go with what you said of Abdul Carter. And if you don't, my next best option is Will Campbell for y'all.
Ooh, I don't know if I like Campbell that high up, but I could see the Giants wanting a tackle eventually in this draft. I don't know. What do you think, Will?
I think it's got to be Abdul. Like we were talked
I
about
think it
before. I
has
think it's
to.
got to be Abdul Carter for you guys. He's just too much of it. It's one of those players in a position where if you can fill that for 5, 6, 7 years with a stud, you're gonna want to. And
Yeah.
I think you have to take him.
Yeah, I think there'll be enough disagreements in the Giants, just in their draft room where it's like we're just gonna take best player available because we can't agree on a quarterback right now. So that's where I think it's gonna that's what I think is gonna happen. So yeah, I'm going Abdul Carter.
Okay.
So 4 with the
Um,
Patriots.
Or with the
this is
Patriots is
where
super interesting. I think that this is definitely a target pick that could potentially be wheeled and dealed, but
That's what I said earlier.
I will say that the Patriots they're riding with Drake May, he's the future. They need weapons, right? They need weapons, but do you value Tet McMillan as a top 5 pick?
yes, you do.
I don't.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I think that you'd be able to pick up another receiver further back in the draft for I don't want to say the same capital, but roughly almost the same kind of player.
Hold on. Can we? Are we just going through this draft as if it was for restrictions as we currently have it on PFF with not trading?
Yeah,
see, this is where I was gonna say that I
it
would
gets
trade
dicey.
here. So I would if I'm the Patriots, I'm trading back because it's a valuable pick,
They just
and I know 2 teams in the top 10 that want Genty. 2, potentially 3. So I'm calling up the Raiders, I'm calling up the Bears, and I'm saying what's it gonna take to get
I
Genty?
need I need your source right now.
But I just that's what I feel. I think Genty goes here some way or some form. I think Genty is going 4th, and I think either the Patriots are going to decide to take him or he's going to be someone team's going to trade up for him. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I
He's
think
more
it's just
valuable than any receiver in this draft. In my opinion, he's more valuable than any of them.
I kind of go back on our third selection of Abdul Carter. I think the Giants Pats trade.
Okay.
And the Pats get Abdul Carter. You guys go to
Mhm.
4 and then make a move. But that's where I stand.
I wouldn't mind that as a fan. I would understand that.
Yeah, but
As a Giants fan.
the thing that I see here, at least for the Patriots side of the ball, don't you want to give Drake more weaponry on offense?
You just got Diggs.
Well, that's what I'm thinking too. But Diggs is like hit or miss sometimes. He's
Yeah,
good,
that's what I'm saying. I mean, what's that
but
gonna? I mean, overall, it's
You,
really I feel like not gonna do too much as we've seen.
I mean, yes, me being a Vikings fan, Diggs is gone. But to see him now with Pop Douglas and who's the other wide receiver that New England has?
man,
Couldn't
Who's the
even
other
tell
guy?
you.
honestly, they're so ridden of receivers.
There's
That's why
Javon
I'm saying
Polk. There's
Yeah,
a boatload of what's his name? Keyshawn Booty or Butte or whatever his name
yeah.
is.
Well, that's what
Keyshawn
I'm saying. If
Butte.
they're this devoid of a receiving core, don't you think that that would be the first logical step that they take?
So in action, I agree. I had my T Mac.
You like T Mac? I could see T Mac, but
Yeah, yeah,
I also it's
I
either
mean,
T
look,
Mac or they trade back. Like that's
look
really what
what
I'm
yes,
look
yes.
what Arizona did. Look what Arizona did last year.
Yeah.
They valued Marvin Harrison. The dude's a bum, or he was a bum his
We
first
don't know
season.
that. We don't know that yet. I think there was a lot of other factors at
I
play
mean, again,
there.
look at his stats this past season. He was a bum. He didn't even break 1,000.
Well,
He's just not a yak guy though. Like that's why Malik was so praised. He was a yak guy. I don't know.
And then what? I mean, Brian Thomas. You can say he's a unicorn. So
Yeah, he's both too. I don't know. So
let's just go with T Mac
let's go
here.
with T Mac.
yeah,
I'm
we'll
okay
go
with
with T
that.
Mac.
I'm okay with that. All right,
I think
This is
I
where
yeah,
mean, the Jaguars are another team. I'm
yeah.
really like no idea what they could do here.
they could go either way. They could go either side of the ball because they're
They really
going
can.
all in on Trevor Lawrence. So they'd obviously need, you know, Could this be a place where, again, they wheel and deal the pick for someone who wants Genti? Could they take? I don't see another receiver being valued in the top 10. I can tell you that right now. Could they take Will Campbell here? Yeah. But I think personally, they go with the best D lineman in the draft, and that's Mason Graham out of Michigan.
I could see
Beside
that.
I agree with
behind like interior defensive lineman, I
Yeah.
think Mason Graham is where they go because that defense got torched last year.
A lot of people have Mason Graham going here.
Now,
That's what I have.
If Bearing T-Mac's not available, yes.
I think we go.
That's where I'm
Mason.
going.
Okay.
We'll go
Graham.
Mason Graham there.
And I think
Raiders automatic
It's locked
Ashton
in.
Genti.
automatic.
Yeah, it's automatic. It's not even.
And
a
this
question.
is where I think that the Bears might try to trade up because I know the Bears are looking to get another weapon. I just know it, dude. Some way. I just know it. But anyway, yeah, he's gonna go.
Maybe.
Their defense is good, man.
Their
defense is good. Their defense is loaded. I think they're going offense, but we'll get to Bears. But that's just me.
This has been my set forth if it doesn't go the Giants' way. Ashton Genti goes to the Raiders.
Yeah.
Campbell goes to the Jets.
Yeah, I think Jets go aligned.
Will Campbell.
I think that's a
I
great
have
pick
that.
For them.
Yes, I think that'd be a great
It's
pick
great
for them as
pick
well.
them.
I agree.
Fits their team. It's a good pick. Okay, so
All right.
now we're at the Panthers.
Again, this is another one that I struggled with, man.
This one I'm struggling too.
There's a lot of need there. There's a lot of need, but I think more so it's going to be in the secondary.
You think they go?
It's going to be Malachi
defense
Starks.
here.
That's what I was.
I think they go with Malachi Starks out of Georgia to beef up the secondary. I would say the only other person that I have the Panthers going to actually is a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And it's Luther Burden III.
I like Luther Burden, but I don't like him this high up. I just can't.
Listen. I struggled with this one between the two of them because Bryce showed a lot of flashes last year, so they need to give him as much help as they can. But I think defensively they were also trash, so I think they go with Malachi Starks here.
Yeah, I like Malachi.
He's the best He's the best secondary player in the draft, in my opinion. It's either him or Will Johnson out of Michigan, but I think they go with Malachi Starks here.
I like that pick. He's definitely
Will Johnson this high is crazy. You don't think so? Will Johnson this high?
I like Will Johnson.
I watched a lot, dude. He's a ball hawk, bro. He's a beast. I think he's a beast.
I think it's between Will Johnson and Starks.
For sure. I think it's one of those two.
Let's lock in Starks because it does say DB that they need.
Yeah, I'm down with Starks.
Now,
he's special.
This is where I also put Shador at 9. I could also be wrong and think this is where Luther Burton goes because Chris Olave's injury. They only have Rashid Shaheed, who's, plastic. He's literally a plastic bag floating through the wind. Thank you, Katy Perry. But in that sense, I truthfully think they go wide receiver here. You can possibly see Walter Nolan from Mississippi because they have that D-line need.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who's New Orleans' tight end?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Juwan Johnson.
Oh, yeah. He's decent.
I think potentially I had Luther. I also could see Luther Burden going here, but I potentially have Tyler Warren going to the Saints here.
Ooh.
That guy
is
a stud. That guy is a stud. Tyler Warren, he's like what, 6'6", like 255. Dude, he is an animal who's got such an amazing catch radius. I could see Tyler Warren going here to the Saints. 100%.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, I think it is tough because it's not a tight end. They're not a tight end needy team. It'd be one thing if it was like the Indianapolis Colts, because the Colts really need.
That's the other place. The other place that I have him mocked is the Colts at 14, but we'll get to that. But I could see them pulling the trigger on a player like that. Run a 2 tight end set. Fuck it.
I like Mike Green here, but that's just me. Mike Green or
Oof.
let's see
I
who
can
else.
see Mike Green here.
Mike.
Yeah, I
I'm
can see him.
looking
I
at
think Walter Nolan's
interior.
not a bad one either for the
Jamar
Saints. See, that's what I'm
Stewart.
saying. The
I like
Saints
Jamar
pick, like
Stewart here.
they could go a lot of routes, dude.
Just to
They
be
could go a
clear,
lot of routes.
I think James Pierce Jr. falls because of the background history stuff. I think that's gonna be a big problem.
Let's
So
Yeah, I have him
let's
back.
go.
Yeah.
what do you
Let's
guys
go
thinking?
with the ranking system. I want to say let's lean into Nolan because I don't know of any defensive linemen for the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Interior
I'm just leaning
wise,
on that
yeah.
interior wise or even edge wise.
Okay.
So like Mike Green
I'd
and
be.
Nolan, like that
I
would
would.
be my lie.
I'd go with Mike
I
Green
would
here if I
say.
were you, but that's just me.
Yeah, I would. I think. Yeah, he's the. Yeah, I'd go with Mike Green here then. Okay.
What do you think,
All
Jake?
right, we can agree on that.
Mike Green, you okay with that?
Mike Green.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's a
All right.
stud.
And
I think he's
then
just under Abdul, honestly. He's so good.
He's a beast.
Okay. So, Chicago Bears.
this is where I go Nolan. Walter Nolan.
I also went in Walter Nolan here for D lineman.
I would
Because
consider
they
maybe
just
Omari and
got
Hampton, maybe, but nah, I'm with you guys
that's
though.
too high.
Not that high, not at 10.
Yeah,
I don't think
I
at
think
10.
Hampton's stud, man.
I don't
Oh
think
no,
at
he's
10.
a stud.
He's a stud.
I just don't think
But yeah, I'm with you on
This
Walter
could be a
Nolan.
pick. This could be a pick that if they don't get Genty, that they could trade back for.
They could.
In that sense, they could.
We don't
But
know
yeah,
who's
let's
on
put
the
Walter
radar,
Nolan
but
there.
yeah, I like Walter Nolan.
all right, so Nolan it is.
Yeah. All right.
11
then
is a beast.
Saints. I mean, not Saints. 49ers.
Niners.
Yeah.
An absolute mammoth of a human being, dude.
I think they go Will Johnson.
Armand Membu.
Maybe. I don't know. O-line.
Tackle from the University of Missouri.
Yeah, you guys like that?
With McCafferty coming back.
Okay.
Full tilt next year. They want to protect his ass indefinitely, and he is a mammoth, bro.
Not only McCaffrey, but you also have Trent Williams on the other side.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a sweet tackle pair.
I think Membu would be insane.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy right there. That's a Membu. I'm with the Membu.
Cool.
I'm now this is where I see Omari and
Cowboys.
Hampton going.
Ooh,
Omari
they
and
got
Hampton.
nobody. Yeah, it's gonna be a wide receiver or it's gonna be a running back, in my opinion. Either one.
So
it's gonna be Omari.
I originally had Mike Green going to Dallas if he fell back that far, but since we already used him, we could put Amari on there. I'm fine with that. I didn't have him that high, but we can put him there. Or did we use Luther Burden yet?
Not yet. Luther Burden would
What
be
about
my pick.
Who do you value here?
What about Jahad Campbell?
Ooh,
yeah, that's a good
Campbell's
one.
nice.
I have him.
What's their linebacker situation? I forget. I mean,
They lost Leighton Vander Esch.
They lost Vander Esch.
Yep.
True. That's huge, actually.
They have
Jihad Campbell that's a sneaky one, bro.
Eric Kendricks is Eric Kendricks. They have Anthony Barr for 4 days. I think we're going Jahad Campbell.
Yeah, I'll go Jahad.
Okay.
Let's do Jahad.
Okay. We can go Jahad Campbell there.
Dolphins.
But
I have secondary here.
So do I.
Be secondary, then it has to be Will Johnson.
I have Will Johnson here.
Has to be Will Johnson, in my opinion. No.
I have Jody Barron.
You Barron? See, I don't know much about Barron as I do about Will Johnson.
I think they take Will Johnson and then Barron goes to the Cardinals at 16.
Will Johnson's injury history could be the reason why he falls.
I would flip that, but I would flip that because I think Johnson goes to Cardinals. But I mean, we can go with whatever one. It's whatever.
All right, let's go. You know what? We could go Barron. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm down for Barron too. I honestly don't know that much about secondary this year as much as
It's
he's blown.
it's really up to the franchise. So like you gotta think Jalen
where?
Ramsey. Do you want another? You could have another mouth running back on the other side of him. So like
Yeah.
Will Johnson would work.
Yeah, you're right.
So
You're right. Yeah, I'm down with Barron.
we want to go with. No, let's go with. I it kind of entices me to think Will Johnson would be a Miami Dolphin.
I think Will Johnson just seems like he was a stud his whole career in Michigan, really. Right?
Yeah, and he was on that Natty team. Yeah.
He was on the Natty team. Yeah.
I think Barron and Johnson. Yeah, I
They're
think
like,
I think
I don't know.
I think that they could take
I'm good.
Will Johnson here.
Will Johnson.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
go with that.
Okay, we'll go Will Johnson. I like Will
If-
And
Johnson.
then we just spoke about this.
Yeah, if Tyler Warren doesn't
Yeah,
get taken
Tyler
earlier,
Warren.
he's going here at
It's Tyler
14.
Warren, yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Okay.
That's easy enough to be said.
Oh yeah. I
So
love Tyler
Falcons, I originally had Jahad Campbell
Warren.
going here,
Yeah,
but now there's a Georgia linebacker, Jalen Walker, middle linebacker, who's a hard hitter. I think he
Jalen
could
Walker's
fit-
I actually do like Jalen Walker.
He's a ball. He's a baller. He played all those years at Georgia. I think he could stay in the Peach State and go to Atlanta. Because like I said, I originally had Campbell going here, so I think they need to address a linebacker need.
You don't think they go? I thought Luther Burden, but that's just me. I think they possibly also, ran away with their wide receiver class last year.
Yeah.
Their wide receiver core last year, so we can move away from the wide receivers, and I'd be down for it. We can go for what'd you say, Will?
Jalen Walker.
It was a linebacker, Jalen
Jalen.
Walker out of Georgia. Yeah.
You don't think that's a reach?
No,
I have seen Jalen Walker mocked even higher than this in some drafts.
he's a baller, dude. Yeah,
So-
he's an insane. He's a
Alright.
baller.
I'm okay with Jalen Walker.
So let's lock it in, Jalen Walker.
All right, let's do it.
And then we all are in agreement that Barron goes to the Cardinals.
Yes.
Yeah, Barron goes to the Cardinals. Yes. All right, Bengals time, Will. What is it?
I got Kenneth Grant, like I was talking about earlier, D-line
Grant.
Michigan.
Yeah, I like
It's
Kenneth
either
Grant.
Kenneth Grant or Donovan Ezraku.
Dude, I was hoping Kenneth
One of
Grant
those
would
two.
fall, dude. I would love the Giants to get Kenneth Grant. That would be sick.
It's Kenneth Grant or Donovan Ezraku. One of those two. But I say Kenneth Grant goes here, and then Donovan goes to Seattle.
All right, I'm choosing Kenneth Grant. I like that pick a lot. I think he's a beast.
Yeah.
Okay, so Seattle
Okay.
Seahawks.
I think Seattle focuses on the line.
You think they talk O-line?
They have the center and the guard need.
They do.
Their defense isn't that bad. They still have secondary fill-in.
Tyler Booker,
No?
maybe. I don't know if Tyler Booker's a reach though. Here, that might be a reach.
Yeah, I think
Oh, you're
maybe more
gonna-
like Josh Simmons.
I don't know. Do they need a tackle though?
Justin. I don't think. Like, unless they convert one of their current tackles to a guard, I can only see that happen.
Yeah.
So, like, this is another slicey dice scenario. Like, are we going to see Seattle take an alignment? Are we going to just to make sense of it? We don't have a guard or a center on the board. I'm fine with Ezraku. But
I'm looking at
you
edge
know.
here, just because it's a strength. It's one of the strengths of the draft over O-line.
Yeah, I think Ezraku goes here. That's what I have. BC guy.
Yeah,
Big baller.
I think I'm going as a Raku. I don't know if you're okay with that, Greg, but I think O-line
Yeah,
they could get in the
let's
second.
do it.
Yeah.
I also like this could be the slice and dice maneuver where let's take a tackle, move one of our current tackles to a guard, bring in this tackle and make him a guard. Like, I can just see that.
Yeah, that definitely could happen. Okay, so Bucks.
That's just James Pierce.
Oh, you think James Pierce falls here? I think he falls even more personally. But he is a talented.
Shamar
I'm fine
Stewart.
with putting I'm fine with putting
thinking-
James Pierce here if that's who we want to go with, but I had him a little bit further back.
I'm thinking Shamar
You want to
Stewart
go?
here. I think
Yeah.
James Pierce falls to like the late first, honestly. I don't know.
Shamar Stewart's not a bad shout either.
Yeah. Like he was
Let's see.
stud, man.
Did you already lock it in?
No, I'm locking now. So Shamar Stewart,
Uh,
Bucks. Lock that in.
Yeah.
Broncos.
Broncos.
This is
Coming
where
up
I
next.
think Colson
Lamar-
Loveland or Luther Burden come off 100%.
Omari and Hampton.
Yo. You think they go running back? Shit. That would be crazy if they pick a running back. Their running back,
I think
their
that-
running back, like back their whole all the run they had to. What am I trying to say? Basically, I can't see them taking a running back because they drafted one last year, and also their running back room is pretty decent. I'm pretty sure they drafted one last year. Or was it the year before? I'm trying to think who they draft.
Yeah, I think
They just got-
Luther Burden comes off the board here. I had Luther Burden going earlier, and then I had the next best one, which was Emeka Egbuka from
A lot
From
of
Ohio
people
State.
Oh, that's
have
I think
Colston
that's too high
Loveland
for-
coming off here. This is like a
I
prime
had
spot for
him.
him.
I like that. I
think they're gonna
I
take.
like
I
that.
think they're gonna take. I think they're gonna take a receiver.
Colson Loveland is not a blocking tight end. He is a receiving tight end to the fullest.
I think they're
He's
gonna take a receiver here.
I guess it's really depends
They-
now what you'd rather have. You'd
Are
have
they
a
gonna-
slot or a receiving tight end.
I mean, they have Sutton, they have Troy Franklin. I don't really know any other wide Mims. No, Mims is gone.
Mims
For
Mims
Denver.
is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that they take a receiver because you have all these teams that are trying to find their T. Higgins dude, at least the number 2 guy who can start early.
You mean Jordan
I
Addison? Come on.
I think that they go. I think the Broncos go receiver here.
I'm down
I'm
with
just gonna
Burden.
stand by that.
I'm down with Burden.
We're already saying Burton's taking a hit 5 slots down from his rank. I think Burton as
Yeah,
well.
I'll take Luther
And then-
Burden.
Oh,
All
here
right,
we go.
I want to hear what you guys think. This is
Here we go.
I
I
have
originally
one.
in mine, I originally have Shedeur Sanders in mind, but I, for the life of me, cannot put him there, dude. We talked about it earlier.
I don't know.
I don't think they
see
do.
it.
Yeah, I don't think they
but-
do.
If they are taking one, dude, Jackson Dart's
Who?
right here. Jackson Dart. I don't know why, but
Oh, bro.
I just been
No
hearing a
words,
lot
no.
about him. I've been hearing a ton about Jackson
S-
Dart recently being edged over Shedeur. I really have been.
Oh.
Scroll down one more.
What?
That's my pick.
Who?
Who?
Tyler
Tyler-
Shaw.
You think
Tyler Shaw.
You think he goes this high?
No,
That's crazy.
absolutely not. That is
You
no.
know, I'd be.
He is not. He's 25 years old, bro.
I'm not a fan.
Tyler
dude.
Shaw.
Oh,
No, and no, I don't. No.
Man, it's got to be Shedeur.
right. Yeah,
It's
we
gotta
have
be
to just
Shedeur,
take him.
Dart, or it has to be. I'm thinking running back here. Since they lost Najee,
Oh, go with the Marion.
I like Marion Hampton here, bro.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're getting spicy now. Yeah, we'll put him in Pittsburgh.
He's better than
You're saying
Najee.
O'Mara?
He's better than Najee.
He is, but what is Pittsburgh gonna do at quarterback, man?
They're getting.
Let's.
Dude, I don't.
There's
know,
no
honestly.
way.
Again. There's.
I don't think
This is another scenario. This is another scenario where they can trade back into the first round if they see fit, or they can grab someone like Jackson Dart in the second round and move up if they see fit. I just can't. I cannot put Shedeur in a Steelers uniform. I don't think that's the type of player that they want.
So how about we say this?
Are they getting Aaron Rodgers or not?
No.
You don't think so? Okay.
I don't think so either.
Shedeur Sanders is inevitably going.
He's going what?
Inevitably going to be a trade target.
He's gonna.
Team's going to try and trade back into
Yeah.
the first round for him. I'm going to go Jackson Dart here. That's my pick. Or Jalen Milrow.
I love Jalen Milrow.
Actually, you know what? Screw you both. Screw you both. Screw you both. Will Howard.
No.
Oh,
No.
man.
Will Howard's not a first round pick.
Ben-
Stop it.
Ben Roethlisberger. Look.
I'm going
I
with Marion
think they-
Hampton. Will,
Yeah, I think
I'm
the, I
with
think
you
the same
here.
thing.
Sorry, Greg. We're taking a running back.
I don't like.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
They
think
they're
just
taking
got,
running backs
dude.
here.
They just got rid of Najee's gone, bro.
I think they go with Marion Hampton.
Najee's
Yeah,
gone.
that's a yeah.
Quarterback.
Dude, the
Over-
quarterbacks
Yes.
aren't
This
that
is
good this
crazy.
year. They aren't that good this year.
Cam Ward
Running
is
back-
the
Alright.
20th ranked. Cam Ward's the 20th ranked overall prospect in this draft. Keep that in mind.
That is crazy.
Keep that in mind.
I know.
On talent wise,
I know.
on talent
but, like,
evaluation. So there is no way that the Pittsburgh Steelers are not going to be 100% on their next franchise quarterback. They already
Well-
screwed up once with Kenny Pickett, and they don't want to do it again.
You
I'm
think
just
they're
trying
gonna
to-
walk in week
What?
1 with Mason Rudolph throwing the ball?
They'll draft a quarterback later.
I think
But-
they'll take a quarterback later. Yeah, I think they'll take Jackson Dart and move up, or someone
I
later.
still
Jalen
think
Miller or whoever it
Aaron
is.
Rodgers is in their plans. I really do. So
Yeah,
All right, let's
Hampton.
lock in on
let's say you gotta
Marion.
appease Aaron Rodgers a little bit to get him on the team. Why would they take a quarterback? Why would they take quarterback when they could take Omari and Hampton? I'm taking Hampton. It's on the board. It's in the books. They're getting
Okay,
Aaron
well, this is
Rodgers,
where-
and he's gonna have a stud running back.
I
then this is
think,
where Abuka goes.
Abuka.
This is
No,
where
I
he
have,
goes.
I have,
Mika
I have
Abuka.
Loveland here. I have Loveland here.
Oh yeah.
I have
Harbaugh
Loveland
likes
going
tight
to-
ends. I think
Yes,
he's been also
Michigan guy. He coached at Michigan. Yeah, I think this is where Loveland goes.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah,
It's a good point.
Yes.
Is
I
Michigan.
can see it.
I like Loveland.
So then
I'm locking in
Abuka
Loveland.
goes to Green Bay.
No,
Yeah.
I
Ooh,
think
they're taking a receiver.
think
They have
this-
to. They have to, bro.
They're taking Abuka. They're taking Abuka.
okay.
How are you not
All right.
taking Abuka?
Yeah, how are you? Yeah, I'm with you, Greg.
Okay. Yeah, fair.
I don't think any receivers go more. I don't think there's any more receivers though that come off the board here, in my personal opinion. But
Unless you're the Kansas City Chiefs.
no, stop with that. We'll get there. All right, Greg, who's your pick? If you had to keep the pick.
I'm gonna stay. It's either between
Benjamin Morrison or who?
Nope. Safe. Amon Wari.
Amon Wari. Ooh.
We don't have a second round pick. I can also see Xavier Watts here. I like my Notre Dame guys.
You
and
want
I
to go
think-
with Morrison?
Benjamin Morrison would be a pretty deep, sneaky. I could see that.
I look.
Or there's
I like Ben
Trey,
Morrison.
Trey Amos.
I
just-
mean, let's see.
I think we're
interior.
wrong with one pick, and Amos goes before us.
You think Amos goes? Okay.
I think you could take Amos here. Yeah, I think that would fit.
No, just scroll all the way down to Mr.
To who?
Mr. Irrelevant. No, I'm kidding.
Irrelevant.
I could say for my own personal liking,
Morrison.
unless we think Trey Amos is here. Like, do you
Yeah,
guys think Trey Amos would go here? He's too high right now.
I think
Yeah, I
Amos
would go. I would go. I think that's a solid pick. I think that's
Amos
very solid.
Would be, would might be here. So but this would be a good spot for him. It seems like so. I'm down for Amos.
All right, let's go with Amos.
Okay. Texans.
Offensive
With
line
Hampton
for
to
sure.
Pittsburgh. Hampton to Pittsburgh kills me.
It's
They
happening,
go
bro.
offensive line
It's
for sure.
happening.
I think they
Simmons.
either go. I think they go Simmons or Kelvin Banks.
Yeah, Simmons or Banks, 100%.
I have
Um,
Simmons to the Texans, and then I have Banks to the Rams. The next pick.
Oh, I like
See,
that.
that's where I'd Loveland go. I'd love him to the Rams.
I don't think, however, passes on him at 22. I don't think so.
Yeah, Loveland's a beast. A lot of people say that he's neck and neck with Warren for tight end rankings. Warren just offers
So
more,
we're going
as a player.
with Simmons.
Yeah, I'll go
Yeah,
Simmons.
go
here?
Simmons.
And then you like Banks.
I like Banks here. I like Kellen Banks Jr.
Mm-hmm. I think
See,
Olon's
I was
smart.
thinking Gray Zabel.
Tackle. See, Banks was very hyped up before the right as the season ended. I thought Banks was gonna be like the top ranked tackle, but he seemed to fall down a lot. I don't know necessarily why that is.
People are saying that he was slow.
Yeah, he didn't look great in the playoffs.
People were saying
maybe
he was
that's
mad
why.
slow.
Yeah,
I still think they take him. I think the Rams take him here. I think they have to address offensive line.
yeah, they're trying to win a Super Bowl. They should go line or edge or something. What
They
do you
could
think?
get
I was
Skirtin from
thinking
Texas A&M.
I was looking at Gray Zabel for this, but
Gray Zabel.
we can go with Banks.
Yeah, I mean it's a toss up really. I'll just go Banks since he's ranked higher here. When
Yep.
is Zabel drafted? 26. Okay, so yeah, I'll go with Banks. The Baltimore Ravens. Here, let me fix this screen real quick. So the Baltimore Ravens. Hold on. Let me move this up. Okay, so the Baltimore Ravens. I have no clue what they're gonna do at all.
Either edge
I
or corner.
I would say they're probably going to go with an edge. I have Nick Skirtin going there.
Nick Skirtin. Ooh, I
Texas
like
A&M.
that. Okay. Let's look at
Low
the other
key,
edge options.
James Pierce Jr.
Yeah,
He might even
yeah.
fall more though. I'm not even gonna lie.
I don't know. James Pierce Jr. could fall.
He's had some
That could be that's a
sketchy
sneak,
background, man.
but that's a sneaky Baltimore. He'd fit right in the city of Baltimore then, so that makes sense. Um, yeah, you could throw James Pierce Jr. there. I'm fine with that actually.
I'm okay with that. He's
A
gonna get it. He's gonna come.
shit human
He'll go in the
for a
first round
shit
probably.
city.
Anyway, yeah.
I
All
mean,
right,
he was
I
either
dig
going
it.
there or he was going to Philadelphia. One or the other.
Yeah, it's really that's so true though. That's 100% facts.
So this next pick was interesting for me because overall, comparatively to other drafts, I'd say the wide receiver talent pool is not as good. But there's one guy that I think, as I watch tape on him, that I think it's tough because he's bordering on second round talent, but I think it's a need in Detroit to have a number two guy, and I think it's Matthew Golden, the wide receiver out of Texas.
I just don't
I don't
know.
think that he's necessarily round one talent, but I think, like I said, a lot of teams are going to be trying to find their number two guy.
Mm.
Because obviously Amon Ra is going to be one. You have other stud players there. Why would you not offset
You
your
know
offense
what?
with another good receiver? And I think Matthew Golden's a good player.
I'm just curious to see how their
I
whole
don't.
team's gonna be next year, knowing they have two new coordinators, offensive and defensive. It's just it's tough.
Personally, coming from the NFC North and knowing the Detroit Lions, think they're going to be any good. They're going to be competitive, but I don't think they're going to make the playoffs next
It's hard
year.
to imagine them being as competitive as they have been.
I
I
think
agree with that.
Jameson Williams gets traded on one of these days.
That's
Either it be
crazy.
tomorrow,
That's crazy that rumor
the
came
next
out.
day. Like, I truthfully think so because he's had his problems in Detroit. He's been on and off the injury,
He's on my dynasty,
off-field
bro. Come on.
situations. Stop it. Stop it.
Dude, give
I
the man
just,
some hype. Come on.
I think they go. I mean, it's hard to say. The edge rushers are kind of dead right now. This is an edge heavy. We can go Nick Scorton here. to
Let me see the
highlight
defense here.
over Aiden Hutchinson, bring a little light there because they have Anzalone, right, the linebacker who broke his arm last year. Playoffs.
I'm thinking either Michael Williams or Derek Harmon right now.
I'm going Scorton, man.
You like Scorton?
I really am.
Okay.
I'm really on Scorton.
What about you, Will?
Yeah, I think
If
I'd
you have the
have to give
chance
the
to
edge.
highlight
I think I'd
highlight
between the
Aiden
two.
Hutchinson.
I like the Georgia players, man.
I do too.
I think they always produce top end defensive talent. So I would give the edge to Michael Williams.
Aren't you also a Georgia fan?
You are.
Yeah, but the proof is in the pudding, dude. Look at all the Georgia players that have been drafted defensively over the past like 6 years.
You don't think Scorton goes here? I mean,
No, I think he might.
I
Yeah.
could.
I think he
Don't get me wrong.
it's one of those toss-ups. It's like one of those ones that whatever the franchise wants is what they're going to take.
I have Michael Williams going to Buffalo.
Mm,
Yes.
Okay.
He's still a first round caliber player. Don't get me
That's
wrong.
where
Like,
that's
it's one
where
or the
that's where
other,
I had Skirtin going.
so we can flip flop these.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm fine with that.
I'll do. How about I do Skirtin here?
Okay.
No, we can
And
go.
then-
we
You
can go
want to
Mike.
flip them?
We
Okay,
can
we'll
do
flip
Mike.
them. We'll flip them.
Yeah.
We'll do
Because ADP wise, he's 20.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to be drafting him higher up. It's probably the Georgia bias. I haven't watched a lot of him though, so I'll be honest. But
I think you saw. I give it to the Georgia boys there.
okay,
And
well,
then
yeah, we'll do Michael
Burton-
Williams, Washington. This could be
Okay.
another wide receiver, to be honest. If it was, I don't think you don't think so. Okay, who do you think, Dangan?
I mean, we could see wide receiver here like Matthew Golden, but Jane Daniels had made. Wait, didn't De'Ami Brown leave? Isn't he on the Panthers?
Yeah. What about Ben Morrison here?
I do think corner's an option. I think corner's definitely a solid option.
I
for
think
them.
they're in need of a corner. I think
Benjamin
Ben Morrison is
Morrison.
not a bad take here.
I like that. I really do. Ben Morrison.
I think
Shaden
if he's on the
Ravel.
board there, I'd say the Commanders take a corner.
I wouldn't say Ben Morrison, though.
What about safety?
No? You guys.
I don't know. I mean, I think their secondary wasn't too great in the last year. But then
Yeah, who's there?
I don't think they go.
Yeah,
They might not go secondary.
I think I have them going secondary.
Who do you think, Greg?
I'm looking more interior line.
Interior.
Like
So you think
Tyler
still on
Booker
the
from
do
Alabama.
you think
Who's-
do you think this is where Tyler Booker goes? I like that though. I like that.
I think they're trying to protect Jaden
Yeah.
Daniels.
I like that a lot actually.
I mean, we can try and take a tackle, but they're in need of a guard. Like Gray Zabel would fit here. That's a nice spot for him. Push one of their offensive linemen.
Tyler Booker is an interesting one. I think that could potentially that's actually very good. I would be okay with throwing him here.
If Tyler Booker ends up in round 2 for the Giants, I might be tempted to take him too. That's another play I really
You don't
like.
You don't think Gray Zabel comes here? I mean, I don't know their tackles like that for Washington. So
I'm trying to think. What's their tackle situation?
you could go
I
Conley
think-
too, or Conley or whatever his last name is.
I have him going to the Chiefs.
Josh Connerly.
Yes,
I can see that.
I could see them needing a tackle.
But
I
then
like
you're
Tyler
still
Booker. I think that would
you
be my pick.
want to go Tyler Booker?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like Tyler Booker.
Maybe.
He's the
Can we
best
get-
guard in the whole draft. They need a guard.
That's one hell of a reach.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it is.
I don't. Yeah,
I think he goes like early.
'cause like I
second
said-
at some point.
like I said, it's either you address a need or you take the best available, and I think
Washington has a contending
need.
team in the NFC.
That's
You
what I'm
might as well
saying, yeah.
take a need at that point, but I don't know if they
Okay,
do need a
now
guard.
we're
Scorton to Buffalo.
Okay, I like that.
And then I'm going to argue here. Well, I think Gray Zabel to the Kansas City Chiefs
Yeah,
just
they
for the aspect of their
didn't they
tackle
just
situation.
yeah, this works
I
perfectly,
agree.
honestly.
I think that they were gonna. Yeah, I think they were gonna go for a tackle anyway. It could be him or Connery. That's fine.
This works perfectly. Yeah, I'm taking Zabel. And
And
then
then,
your
last but not
Kansas
least,
Yeah.
City, or excuse me, your Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl champions.
who do we still
This
have
is.
left here?
They could take best player
I don't think they
available.
go what. Okay,
We still
if
have Ben Morrison
they,
on the board. We still have Ben Morrison on the board. 100%.
Oof, their secondary cooking.
I don't.
I don't
The
know.
only reason why
100%.
I don't think. The only reason
He's
why I don't think Ben Morrison goes a second round talent. I mean, I love him. Don't get me wrong. I want him to. He's gonna cheap with their D backs, but
You don't think that they go? You don't think they go secondary here?
they can go safety maybe. Oh, who's it? No.
No,
so I've
I
been hearing a lot of things about AJ Brown being traded. Now, if he is
I
this is
don't.
where I can see wide receiver going off,
Yeah.
but I
I
don't
think
think
they
he's
still.
going
I
to get
still
traded.
personally, I thought that they were gonna go secondary here.
Who
I
did they just
mean,
lose? Darius Slay? Yeah, let's go Ben Morrison then.
I
Yeah, that's what I
mean,
was thinking. Because to pair him up with that whole
If,
secondary with Coop and everybody there, yeah, I think that they go corner.
I
man,
do think that
they might
there's.
have the youngest secondary in the entire league. Then
And it's also like one of the best.
it's crazy. Yeah.
This is where I lie. It's either Watts or Mo, but I don't know what their safety picture is looking like.
I'm trying not to remember if it changed at all.
Let me look it up
I
real
think Ben
quick.
Morrison is just a safe pick here for them at
It is, but
32.
I want to make something logical. Let me bear with me. Bear with me. I mean, if you can give me an argument that Ben Morrison is a Philadelphia Eagle at pick 32 of the first round, preach it
Well,
now.
I mean, that's the
Besides,
thing. It's sticks and stones at this point. Like it's whoever the franchise deems their most valuable prospect at this point in time. And I think that if you have a player like a Ben Morrison who can fit in your scheme relatively well, who's another young guy who you're going to be able to have for hopefully 4, 5, 6, 7 years, why would you not take him here at 32?
I'm just seeing what like some other mocks are looking at here. Um,
okay, I got one.
yeah, who you got?
Landon Jackson from Arkansas.
All
Edge.
right.
Yeah, another edge. Yeah, or
Ooh,
Shamar
It's an
Stewart from Texas A&M.
Atlanta Jackson, nice. Yeah, let's look at edges real quick
Shamar
again.
Stewart, yeah.
Atlanta Jackson's the
I
top
think
edge left.
since this is so edge,
You think they take one? You think they're gonna be all gone by the time they pick again too? You know?
yeah,
Yeah, I like Atlanta
they have
Jackson.
to.
They just keep
I mean,
bolstering that D line.
Yeah,
but the argument for Ben Morrison does make it's logical. It's very logical. Don't get me wrong, but like I can see him going here as well.
Let me just
like I
see.
said, it's one of these picks that's just like by this time in the night, you know, who knows? It's whoever the franchise deems more valuable to them at the time,
Yeah, it seems like
and
a
you
lot
Oh,
of
don't
what
people
about?
know.
like edge here though.
That's crazy. Jack Sawyer is a day 2 pick or day 3 pick. Dude was a menace in
He
college.
was awesome in college. He was sick.
Could we see Jack Sawyer going here? Them reaching
No,
incredibly hard.
no,
Is Sawyer listed as an edge or a linebacker? He's just at an edge. Oh wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
That would be crazy. That's a reach.
dude. It's like 50-50, man. We could go
Yeah.
Landon Jackson here. I'm fine with that. We could throw him on.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I'm just trying to see where people kind of have Landon Jackson. A lot of people don't have him in the first.
Yeah, it's 43.
Yeah. Um.
Tanaka. Matthew Golden, man. That's crazy. He's a day 2 talent.
What about? Nah. Yeah, I don't think more than 3 receivers go in the first round. But he could go.
No,
He
I
could go
mean,
to like I don't know. He could go to like Steelers or something. You never know. But
That'd be crazy.
that would be crazy. That would be crazy. All
All right,
right.
let's go Landon.
Okay, let's just
Landon
go
Jackson.
Landon
He is.
Jackson. But yeah, I think that makes sense. Got Cam Ward. Bro, I'm
yeah,
so
I think
hyped
that's a
about Cam, bro.
very solid draft, boys. I like how that looks a lot.
It's pretty good. I think like 95% of these guys go in the first round. So
Damn, so Shador Sanders going from the top
no
5 to
trades though.
out.
Remember, no
No
trades.
trades, yeah, no trades. But if
Assuming
we're
no
talking pure
trades.
talent here, I think this is how it would look.
I mean, it's good.
Just going through, I like that. I like that a lot.
I think Omari Hampton goes in the first round for sure. For sure.
Yes.
And I think it's very edge
I
heavy.
really.
Like, how many edges do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4.
I can't believe Omari and Hampton. You
5,
guys.
6, 7.
Omari and
8
Hampton.
edges. Dude, he's going in the first round, Greg. It's happening.
To the Steelers, though?
Yes.
Come on. All right, just because we couldn't trade around, I think the Steelers make a move for a
I'm
quarterback.
assuming Aaron Rodgers is there though. Like that's what I'm assuming here. We gotta
Like
at
they,
least
they already
consider
have
that.
they already have a deal in the works and they're just
Yeah.
not coming out with it yet.
Kinda.
Show me the pen and the paper, then.
I mean, I'm just assuming. I'm not.
It could
saying
happen
it's
tomorrow,
happening.
dude. It could happen tomorrow.
It
It could happen the day before, the night before, dude. It literally could happen tomorrow.
Man, if the 49ers get Membu, that would be insane for them. That'd be insane.
He's a beast. He's a absolute Mount Everest of a human being, dude.
That'd be crazy. I'm just seeing who else were some highlight players we got. I mean, I think Tyler Warning
let's
falling
just
to
go
14 would be crazy.
I think Tyler
I
Warren
do-
it could be a top 10 pick, like for sure. If someone trades up for him, like he could be a top 10 pick for sure.
Yeah.
Just to run with this, like, I really think the Pats are all in on Abdul Carter. I really do.
Nah, if the Giants take him.
I mean, it's very true, but
But then if you
Come on.
flip flop, if you're the Giants and you flip flop to 4, then who are you realistically going to take then?
Mason Graham.
Nah, they don't want to. Nah, I already know.
But I was
they're
about to
going
say
Mason Graham.
you're gonna trade back 1 for not that much capital to get not Abdul Carter. I don't really see the point from a Giants standpoint of why you would do that.
That's what I'm thinking.
It also depends on the comp coming back. Like, if they're all in on Abdul.
I'm taking Ash and Genty. I'm just kidding.
Hell yeah.
I love Ash and Genty though. I want to just tell you, Greg, I don't think you're giving him enough credit. I really don't. He's an awesome player, man. His stats are out of this world for breaking
If
tackles.
the Raiders fumble the bag and go for Shador Sanders at 6, and Ashton Genty falls, right? The only other team I see him going to, oh no, there's 2: Chicago or Dallas.
Genty?
Yeah.
Well, that's just not going to happen. He's not making it past 6. And that's even barring a trade for someone like the Pats moving back. The reason the Patriots would move back solely for the purpose of one of those teams going up to take Genty. That's how I see it.
I still think Genty gets someone trades up for Genty. I still think it's gonna happen. Raiders or Bears. I think one of them's gonna
Move to 4 or 5.
move to 4 or 5. Yeah, 100%. Or specifically Bears because they could jump Raiders. I just think I think the Bears are gonna try to win next year. I really do. I think they're really gonna try to win a lot of games. I mean,
Well, it's going to be hard. It's going
I
to be
know it
hard when you
is.
play Minnesota twice.
I think I know. No, trust me. That is a tough division, man. Tough division. You couldn't predict it at all right now. What's gonna happen?
Just to highlight it, Darisaw is in full capability. He's going crazy. I've been hearing
That's good.
That's
practicing,
good.
lifting. This is going to be
Good.
great. Will Fries, Darisaw. Oh, man.
It's,
Damn. Well, but I think that's a solid draft, gentlemen.
I think so too.
It's a very solid
100%.
draft.
I think so too. I'm excited. I'm really
Yeah,
excited. I'm
big.
excited
Really looking forward to it.
I'm excited to see what the quarterbacks do or where they land. I really
Yes.
am.
Yes.
I think Shador's gonna be the whole all night long. We're gonna hear Shador all night. It's gonna get annoying, but that's what we're gonna
It's
hear.
because Dion's going to be there, bro.
Yeah,
End of
maybe.
story.
Yeah. So, but anything
We
else?
got anything else to say? Will, I know you reach about college football
Oh yeah,
since we
yeah.
just got it.
Oh yeah, dude. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in. I think that the state of
Will's
college football right
epilogue.
now is turning. Yeah, this has been my epilogue for the past like 7 shows. Just a little tidbit about college football. I think the state of college football is absolutely off the rails. I just want to highlight we had Nico Iamaleava at Tennessee demanding $4 million a year, and hats off to the University of Tennessee to tell him to kick rocks. He was already making $2 million a year, for only 25 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. He transfers to UCLA, where the legendary Appalachian State quarterback. What's his face? Joey Aguilar had already transferred to, and now Joey Aguilar is going to Tennessee. So they basically just made the first ever college football trade, and I think it is absolutely ridiculous. I think that like I'll always say, there needs to be a limit on how many times you can transfer, and if you're transferring in conference, out of conference, you need to sit out multiple games. This has gone off the rails. We're basically just being the NFL part two. It shouldn't be like this, and I don't know. I think I think
They
it's
need a
awful.
commissioner.
I am not opposed to players getting money. NIL is fine, but the unlimited transfers, the entering of the portal, whenever you want, 5 minutes after your season ends, I think it needs to be completely overhauled, and it's not good for the game. It's not good for the game. And Nico leaving Tennessee to go to a worse program for less money just because he didn't get what he originally wanted, good. Very happy that Tennessee held their ground and told him to kick rocks. I think that was the funniest thing ever. But that's my 2 cents. That's all I wanted to say. I think college football's in a weird state right now, and I hate to see it because I'm a big fan of that as well. And we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Hey, it's fair enough to say. Fair enough to say. Nobody wants to see that to happen in college football, but hey, we're seeing it now.
Yep. Fair enough.
I think that's it, though, boys. If we
That's
want to
it.
get
Yes,
into
sir.
next pod, next time we chat, we'll talk more
Post-draft.
about post draft, strength of schedule, more of the wonders of coming into the NFL season as we see September fall short.
Yes, sir.
But all right,
All
for
right,
this
boys.
episode, see you later.
See you later.
Peace.
Peace.